so moving on to now, like I said, we are a little confused about whether we should call this a painting and illustration. So there are reasons why illustrations are done. There are people who are paying an illustrator money to get work done from them, and that's where you will see where all can you apply illustration. So for example, if some of you grow up and become illustrators, these are the options which are available for you. So the first and the primal one is the editorial illustration. Out here, basically, you are creating graphics which are, supporting the content which is mentioned in editorial illustration. So basically, if there's an article, say, for example, if there's an article on COVID and you want to illustrate something, then you will probably create something. So editorial illustrations are basically used in newspapers, magazines. You also see them in a lot of websites where they have articles, and also some of these are used as infographics. There are illustrations which are infographics as well, which you will see in a lot of web as well as physical articles. So editorial illustration has a lot of application. The only thing is, out here, the in editorial illustration, the illustrators basically, they might be working independently, or they might be working for an illustration agency, or they might be working for an advertising agency. So it all depends on where you are, and you will have a brief from the client. The client will tell you that this is an article and I want you to illustrate. So the editorial illustrator works very closely with the person who's writing the content. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are some more examples of editorial illustration. So this is an infographic illustration. There will be an article alongside this. So I have just pulled out the illustration to show you that you can create something of this sort. So people who, artists who generally like to categorize information, or are interested in breaking down facts and making it simpler, you can try creating infographics. Then you see a lot of these supporting illustrations in articles, whether it's digital or physical. This is the scientific illustration I'm talking about. So this is for a journal in science where this artist has come up with something of this sort and has given. So this is not a photograph, this is an illustration. Quick guess, which product is this?
Ma'am, it's coffee, Nescafe.
Brilliant. What they've done is they've used the actual Nescafe mug there. They have placed in coffee, they've placed in the hen, and that's it. So basically, advertising illustration is a space where illustrators are creating artwork and visuals which sell or market an idea. Can you see the frames out here? So this is basically this image. This frame is talking about not selling the product per se, but selling the features in a product. And when this advertising visual is more about what are the different features this company is offering to its customers. So advertising illustration is also about selling things around the product. Okay, so now we talk about conceptual illustration. Now these illustration artworks are not necessarily end artworks, as in they may not be actually bought by a consumer or a company or a brand. They may be just giving you ideas about a final product. So a lot of concept art happens in game design, where these artists give you, they draw characters and they present it to the team, the implementing team, to say, this is the kind of story we can have. This is the place where the story can happen. So this is how an artist will initially come up with sketches and will give the main team, who is going to be designing, or maybe he or she himself will be designing, but they first have to present it to a team. So before you come up with a product, you research on it. So conceptual art comes in the phase of research. We are going to go for packaging illustration. So this is basically, now the difference between advertising and packaging illustration is that this is specifically used to sell what the product is about. In advertising, you might be selling a cause which a product or the company believes in, or you might be selling some features, but packaging illustration is essentially about the product and the ingredients in it. It could also talk about features, but primarily the product itself. So out here, the artist has done a very interesting, idea where you can even, because of the, this gap, they can actually see what is inside it. Now, these are, again, illustrations done by the illustrator out here. So this is all an illustrator working behind the product, creating images for them, creating visuals for them. And it just increases the appeal of the product.